Good day, Merry Meet. My name is Glennis and I am the Witch of Whitetail Hollow. I want to warmly welcome you to my channel. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. If you are new to my channel, I want to say a very warm welcome and a very warm Merry Meet. And for those of you who are returning, I appreciate your support, your feedback, your comments so much. But I actually have someone that has written me a question, and I'm going to address it to the best of my ability, and I will try to stay in between, the line and the ditch. But you guys know I kind of veer off a little bit here and there, so just forgive me. But I'm going to, and it was a video request and of course a question, and I did make myself notes, so if I refer to notes, I apologize. But I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave something out and forget something, because I'm so notorious for going back and reviewing a video only to realize I forgot that. and there I go again. So I really just want to make sure I don't forget something. But I will read their question. And she says, hello, thank you so much for sharing. I was wondering if you could maybe make a video on how to contact and find out what our spirit guide's name is and their spiritual messages to us. I would so appreciate it if you have any tips. I would so appreciate it, sister. Thank you so much. Have a blessed afternoon. I know whatever spirit guides me to go to next. I believe it's been some time ago, I have made a video about working with spirit guides, and I will just kind of go through my list. And I actually had something happen to me this morning, and I'm going to share it with you, but you guys are just going to have to indulge me today, because what I want to do is I want to give you an example of different ways that my spirit guides have come to me. Now, they can be just a random spirit guide. They could be an ancestral spirit guide. I have had so many different entities come into my life. I have one that is always right here, and you always, all of your life, have spirit guides, whether you can see them or not. I have one here. I have seen him once or twice, and that's what I see him as a male. And I mean, I can see his features all the way to maybe to his waist. And I'll share with you how he presented himself and in the situation that I was in and where he presented himself. But to be, I was going to say successful, but I don't really think that's really kind of a fair thing to say. But for you to connect with your spirit guides, and I'm going to absolutely address his names and things like that. So just, like I said, indulge me, because I know I've had one or two others ask me about spirit guides. But I have shared with you over the last year and a bit how all of my life I have been able to connect with spirits, whether I saw them as a spirit guide, or as a child, a very young child, oh, it's a ghost, But you should, and I encourage everyone to be willing and open to see beyond our physical world here. I have spoken about this probably more times than I care to admit. And the last time I spoke about it is when I was talking about working with the Fae. In our world, it's way more than this wood table or the asphalt or the cement. There are so many things around us all of the time. So you have to be willing spiritually and mentally willing, open to connect with them. Now, the best example I can give, and I've spoken about this a very long time ago, was when I was hypnotized and took into a trance-like state by a very well-known author and his wife. And I was with other people at the same venue, although they weren't beside me. They were across the room, and I was there by myself. I mean, there was like 100+ people there, but the people I was familiar with were across the room. So I was pretty much isolated from people around me. I mean, and through hypnosis, it took me somewhere. I can't say that I met a spirit guide, but it took me on a journey. But when I went to compare notes, because I spoke later with the person that hypnotized all of us, and when we went to compare notes, because Gavin wanted to know, well, you know, what did you see? What did you experience? What was it like? I need to know. I need to know. And the other people I was with, they couldn't do it. So I took that, and of course, I didn't say anything to them, but I took that as they had not, and I know this for a fact, they have not learned the art of meditation. So you should all be practicing meditation of some kind, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or like me, a half an hour to an hour, and open your mind, open your spirit, open everything that you have to have perceptions in your reality, but beyond your reality. I'm trying to explain as best that I can. But again, the people I was with, they're like, I didn't see a thing. I didn't experience a thing. And I'm like, wow, I went on this great journey and I met someone and now I work with them. Well, now I do. At the time I didn't. And again, I could see the spirit that was there to meet me at the gate. And it was probably a year or longer. I mean, I could see him, but it was a year or longer before I actually was able to find out who he was. And so now, of course, I have a very intimate knowledge of him. But so just be open to that. So experience them as inner knowledge or intuition. And I know I've had many, many people here ask me, how do I develop my intuition? And, you know, that's a tough question to answer. And I know that you guys really, some of you guys, not all of you, but some of you guys hate to hear me go on about meditation like it's a chore. And it should be one of the things, one of the aspects of your day that you are looking forward to, because that is when knowledge will come to you. Now, they may come to you at odd times of the day or night, but when you are completely, totally relaxed, when your body is completely, totally relaxed and open, that is when your intuition will start to kick in. You will receive inner knowledge from them. But you might see them, and I know when I spoke about the Fae a week or so ago, I spoke about the Fae, and I perceive the Fae, when the Fae are here with me, they are making themselves known to me as sparks of light, little, not like in front of me, but little sparks of light I will see here and there. It doesn't happen often. It does happen some. Now, when my father passed, and again, I spoke about that in my father's ghost story here, when my father passed, I mean, I had not been home 12 hours and he made his presence known. I perceived that as my father for several different reasons. I perceived it as my father because I think he was very, very worried about how each and every one of us were going to be doing. And he came, and as I shared in my story, books were coming off of my bookcase. It was in the guest room. That was when I had a bigger house. It was in the guest room, and there's a hallway, and then I was in the office, which is basically right across from it, and I'm on my desktop trying to get a flight out of here to get back, trying to get things figured out. And as I sat there, books that I had put up, that I had taken to read to him as he lay dying, I had put them back on the book. It was a bookshelf with other books, but just those books came off of the bookcase onto the floor. Well, it didn't scare me, but it did let me know that he is with me, and he was trying to send me a message. Well, I didn't address him at that point. Put the books back up, and I carried on about my business. It wasn't until later on that night he became angry. Well, not angry, but more forceful in letting me know he was there. And it was at that point in time I addressed him and said, I know you're here. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Everything's good. And I believe he came one more time after that, because my cat, my familial, was up on the bed with me. And of course I was sitting where I usually would sit and lay on the bed, and she was at the foot of the bed, and she was right at the foot of the bed, and she was just sitting there, and she raised up and she started to hiss as if something was right before her. And that let me know, okay, this is, you know, and I said, okay, Ginger, come on back. It's okay. It's cool. And I just said, I'm really good here. I said, you need to carry on and go. But they will show themselves to you, sparks of light, things moving. This morning, as I was making notes, the television was off. I was sitting quietly. I love the peace and quiet, but I was sitting quietly. It was very, very early this morning. I'd done ritual, finished ritual, sat down, and was making myself notes and just thinking about my spirit guides and things like that. And as my living room is here, and there's a very big, large opening. There's a part of a wall, and then the kitchen and dining room. And I'm hearing knocks. Well, there's nothing happening in the kitchen. Fanny had already gone back to her heated cup in the bedroom for a nap. And, and I'm listening, and I'm writing, and I'm hearing a series of knocks and pops. And so I'm like, okay, and I keep writing. And it wasn't until I finished my very last note that it stopped. So, I continued, and I sat there and I listened, and it just absolutely stopped. So obviously my notes were good enough. I hope so. But they can come to you, I would imagine, in a series of knocks. But you have to look for signs on your own. When you do feel them around you, and there are things maybe on your mind, in your life, whatever the case may be, as you sit quietly, you don't necessarily have to be in meditation, but if you have a sense that they are there, and if you need help in your life, ask them for help. Say, just say something like, thank you so much for being here for me, and you've always been here for me. And be thankful and be gracious. and show gratitude, because in my mind and in my world, I go by the laws of reciprocity. If I give and if I do with no expectations that I will be rewarded, it will come back to me twofold, threefold, tenfold. So I never have any anticipation, but ask them for assistance. If there are several things that you need help with, whether it be in your mundane life or your magical life, sit down and make a list. Don't make a list of things that you want. This is not about, I want a great, better job, or I want a rich husband, or I want the perfect lover, or whatever it is. Write down what you feel you need. This is all about your needs. And on a day-by-day basis, now if you want to sit down and say, you know, I'm going to ask for your assistance and your guidance in helping me retire soon. I would so appreciate your help in taking my life forward to the next chapter. If you want to sit there and read your whole list out to them, and after each point, you know, don't overwhelm them, but at each point, say, thank you. I appreciate you being here for me. I thank you for your guidance and assistance in helping me to move to the next chapter of my life. If you want to do just one a day, that would be great. If you want to do one a week, to see what kind of response and what kind of assistance that they will bring to you. I compare a spirit guide to my inner intuition. And I know I've spoken to you guys before about I go with my intuition. If I have a major thing happening, I don't sit, unless I'm applying for a loan for a mortgage and I'm comparing interest rates and things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Something like that, yeah, you do want to sit and go, okay, which mortgage rate is better and which one works for me and which one doesn't. But as far as decisions in your life, if it immediately comes to you, like it has to me, I go with it. And I attune that and I contribute that to my spirit guide working through me, through my intuition. And that's the very best way that I can describe working with my spirit guide. But when you go into meditation, if you go into ritual, very, very often I go into ritual in the mornings and I just say, and I speak to Hecate, I speak to other deities here, and I just simply thank them. And at that time, when you are in ritual, ask them, Spirit Guide, please come to me and show me that you are here with me. Talk to me. Show me your presence. And that's really the best way for them to come and make themselves known. Invite them in, but only for your higher good. And call to your spirit guide the ones that will show me compassion, the ones that will show me truth. Not just anybody, the ones that will be to your higher good. So you want to be careful about who you invite into your life. And again, thank them, and ask them for your help with your list. I really recommend, if you have just 4 or 5 things, do one a week and see what kind of response you get. And listen. The next best thing you can do is listen again, I've shared this story with you guys after my mom passed, and I was there with my sister and my niece, and we were all in a very, very large room, and we were doing a very mundane task. We were trying to clear her house out and going through so many memories and things. And of course, I'm always ever present. And I started to hear her. And I brought my sister close by, and I brought her as close as I could. And I said her name, and I said, listen, just quiet yourself. When you go into meditation, take your everyday energy vibrations down a notch. Calm yourself. Calm yourself and listen. And the three of us, I called my niece over, and it seemed like it was just maybe 4 feet away, but we all heard it. And oh my goodness, it was really the experience. Now, was it my mom's spirit? Was it my spirit guide? I'm assuming that it was my mom's spirit because we all heard it, I'm assuming. But later that week, I spent quite a bit of time in my hometown helping my sister. And thankfully, my niece helped us. But later that week, I told her, my niece, I said, quiet yourself. Because I think that she is a lot like me. I think she's very psychically attuned. And that's the best thing that I told her. I said, quiet yourself. If you want to make that connection, sit, be still, and listen. If you feel, now this is not something I do, but if you feel that you have made that connection with your spirit guide, journal about it. Journal about what you think and what you feel. Ask them to move through your writing. I personally don't do automatic writing, but ask them, and maybe they will make themselves known through writing. Ask them for a sign. And she was very specific about asking me about a name. I have seen my spirit guide. I saw him, and he was quite the character. And I was in ritual with other people. I was kind of out of my element, so to speak, because I've always been used to being in ritual by myself and working pretty much on my own. So I was, not entirely comfortable. Not necessarily that I had an issue with the people, but I just felt a little off. And I know he's always been there for me all my life, but that is when I saw him. And I looked, and he looked at me, and he was pretty scruffy. And he didn't, mouth any words or anything like that, but he had quite the grin on his face. So all I can do is imagine that he was trying to make me feel better, or he was trying to say, girl, you really took me on a ride through your life. Oh, but you very well may see them, ask them, what is your name? Who are you? What is your name? For me, as a child of the early 60s, I don't worry about, what's your name and, all of this. That it doesn't mean, to me, it doesn't mean anything. Now, it might very well mean something to you because you may think that you are connecting with an ancestor. typically, from my understanding, typically when you make that connection with your spirit guide to the point where you want to know their name, ask. The very first thing that comes into your brain, that will be your answer. Don't second guess it, because again, this comes along with just being open and accepting of what you're thinking, feeling, seeing, hearing, and knowing that there's so much here that I wish all of you could experience it. Just take it for what it is, and it will mean something to you in the future. In the future being 5 minutes, next week, next year, next 10 years, whatever the case may be, you will remember it. And it will mean something. Just the first thing, what's your name? And there you go. And it's really, really just that simple. But another way to make a good, solid connection, and I know that you guys have thought that over the past year that I've been doing YouTube videos that, no, she can't be serious. Oh, yes, totally. If I say it, and if I indicate it, whether it be through my magic or just chatting, if I'm saying it to you, then that's it. And I have said so many times before, and I know I haven't reviewed every video, but I know I've said from time to time, and I'm sitting making a video and I'm looking outside and I'm seeing it snow. And I'm like, okay, guys, this is my video. I'm going to wrap it up and I'm going outside to play. Oh, yes, this girl is going outside to play. No matter how old you are, channel your inner youthfulness, your inner child. Have fun. Let go of all of your inhibitions, because I will be the first one to go outside to play. I will be the first one to go swimming. You know, I mean, I've done some really, what some people might think are crazy things, but enjoy your life. Enjoy it. I mean, I've gone swimming, not in a creek because that's in the middle of winter. And, you know, I mean, I've worked till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And although way down south is not as cold as what some of you experience, but there's been a time or two it's gotten cold. Hey, let's all go swimming. You know, it may be 5 minutes, but I'll be the first one to jump in the pool. So be childlike, enjoy your life, keep yourself open to everything that you want to do. I mean, stay ever present, enjoy and grab hold of everything that you can right now. Tomorrow may not be here. And you can't lament on yesterday, I should have done that, and I should let that go. There's for you to sit and gnaw on it. That's not going to do you any good. Learn from it, but stay ever present and be childlike. You know, when it comes right down to it, you will adult up, and it'll be okay if you ever have to do that. But I've tried to share with you guys so many things, aspects about how I live my magical life, and, you know, made a point to say, okay, this is how things are. It may not work for you, but it's darn sure working pretty good for me. But when it comes right down to it, with working with spirit guides, asking their names, things like that, and again, I've spoken about this before, have faith. If they say, my name is Crickety Creek, then that's what they want to convey to you. It will mean something. Or they may say a name. It may be Aunt Jane or Uncle Joe. But for me, just the fact that this person has been with me all my life, and thankfully, thank you, thankfully, I have listened to them, allowed them to work through me, and go with what they are guiding me through. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope this answered your questions. I probably carried on a wee bit too far, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to explain it the very, very best way that I can. Now, I have not seen my spirit guide since that particular ritual, so I'm assuming, and I'm going with what I feel is what I'm hearing, is that they were there to give me some comfort, to say, I'm right by your side. You're going to be okay. I'm going to take care of you. And that's how it is. At that same, very same ritual, the person to this side of me, their spirit guide was with them. So maybe this particular person didn't feel entirely comfortable too. But the next time, and I'm hoping that you guys will learn to meditate and take 5-10 minutes out of your day, and to practice and be a very, very strong crafter. Getting to know your inner self and opening your mind up will absolutely help you to become a strong person, a well-rounded person. Okay? I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Merry part, and I hope to merry meet again. Goodbye, guys.